are you doing, Paulo?
Doing well, thank you. How are you, Nicolas?
I'm doing well as well. It's a beautiful day out today.
It
Nice
is.
weather.
It is. You're right. It's a perfect Cape Cod summer day.
Yeah, nice and warm. Well, how's your week been going?
It's been busy. It's summer on the Cape, so it's been a little hectic, which is good. That's what we want.
So, basically, the podcast is about business owners here on Cape Cod, and we just want to ask them how it's like to be an owner here on Cape Cod, any challenges they have, and the pros and cons, basically. But I just want to start off asking, what first inspired you to start your own business? I know Candy Corner was already established when you became the owner, but what made you think that this is it? This is what I want to be doing.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I didn't know I that was a pathway that I was going into. When I first started. So a little background by myself. Paulo Paraguay. My family and I moved to the Cape when I was 6 years old. So like many of us, I'm a wash ashore, and I actually started working at Candy Corner at the age of 14 for the previous owner, who's a great friend and mentor. And at the time, I had no intentions of originally of staying on Cape when I was that young, right? But along the way, I had the opportunity my senior year in college at Suffolk University. At that time, I was applying for corporate America, going into Fidelity, State Street, or Bank of New York Mellon. That was my goal, to go into corporate America in finance. But the opportunity presented itself to buy the Candy Corner and to come back to the Cape, right? So at the time, living in the North End and in Boston, and so it was a big change. So what inspired me to come back to the Cape, was the idea of that I could come back to my roots in a way, also be able to raise my family on the Cape, because that I had the opportunity to do so. And even though there's a lot of different challenges that come with having a business on the Cape, and the pros and cons of it's not your typical business, right? You have with the seasonality of the Cape, you have a good 3 months to almost make your year, right? So it's that time in between is very crucial. So that's kind of what inspired me really to look into it. Was first of all, the opportunity presented itself, and I knew the business. I had put a lot of time into it, and it was a good fit. It was something I enjoyed doing. I was coming back to the Cape, having the opportunity to raise a family here, and also that, as I took a couple years, and also be able to give back to the community, right? Be more of a part of a community as a business owner, and that has been huge.
Yeah, I understand you're now the president of the Chamber of Commerce.
So yeah, I'm right. This year, I'm the chair of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce board. So yes, so
Well,
it's a huge
congrats.
honor and an honor to be there.
Oh yeah, that's very nice to hear. But first, I just want to hear more about Candy Corner. I
Yeah,
understand you weren't there when it was first established, but tell me about the story. I
yeah.
want to know.
So Candy Corner was established in 1968, and it started out as a penny candy store, which it is today. We pride ourselves in having the largest selection of penny candy on Cape, along with everything else we do, from making our homemade saltwater taffy or chocolate or homemade ice cream,
Yep.
uh, to having a great selection of gifts and souvenirs or clothing or jewelry. So it's not just a candy store, but also a great selection of Cape Cod gifts as well. So Candy Corner did start in 1968 on the corner of, a lot of people don't know this, on the corner of Winter Street and Main Street. So that building right across from Polio, which Polio is also, we'll get to that down the road, but it's
Hmm.
also one of the businesses that we acquired about 3 years ago. That's why it's called Candy Corner, right? Because it was established in a corner, and that building is called the O'Neill Building, which is a very pretty and amazing historic building on Cape Cod downtown, which in Hyannis. And so that's why the name comes Candy Corner. And a play on words, it is spelled with a K. So from there, the building, the business itself moved location to where it is today, the current location of Candy Corner. It's been there, I think it's been, if I'm not mistaken, it's the early 70s.
Oh wow.
And from there, it's we've seen a lot of different changes. But what's been fun is that we've kept a lot of the historic aspects of it. That building is called the Parker Hallett Building, and basically that building is one of three buildings that back in the day, it was like a general store on the Cape. So during the summer months, there were three of them, one in Hyannis, a couple in Hyannis, and one in Hyannisport in the early 1900s. And basically, it was a dry goods store. Right, so you could come in. We still have a display case, which we display a lot of the candy now. But a lot of people don't know this, that display case has been in there since the early 1900s. And at one point, it was used as for the dry goods store. That's where they displayed all the nuts or flour, and you'd go in the back and scoop your own products. So that's a little piece of history that's kind of hidden there within the building, which I think is really neat. We have some amazing murals by Vernon Coleman, who was a very famous muralist in the Hyannis area. With you can see some of his art displayed at Town Hall. JP2, actually, the original Barcelo High School, now has
the big sailing portrait.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I
that's
know
by
what you're
him.
talking about.
Yeah. So if you're standing at a certain location, next time you're in Candy Corner, if you're standing at a certain location, if you're looking straight forward, to your left it's going to be the bridge, and then to the right it's Pilgrim Monument, and along the way you'll see the East Hand Windmill and Cape Light itself. So we call it the Seven Scenes of the Cape. So there's a lot of history there. Something that it really is exciting when visitors and customers come in and they say that, oh my God, this place is still the same. I remember, bringing my kids here at an early age, and now I get to take my grandkids. That's something that goes deep into with us, because it means a lot to have that multi-generation experience with Candy Corner.
Yeah, it's a great experience going in there. It's a very nice, nostalgic store, I say. But now bring me on to Polio's. How did you decide to expand from Candy Corner to Polio's, then to Side Door Bagels?
Yeah, so we've been busy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So basically, once again, another opportunity presented itself. A little short story on Polio. I actually helped the original owner who started Polio's with a work in that building. It used to be an insurance agency. So I actually, in a way, have sweat equity into it, because I was the one, ripping out the carpets and digging the floors and all that type of stuff before it was even Polio's. So to come see it come full circle has been really fun. And once again, it's been one of those opportunity, kind of presented itself. My wife and I met in the restaurant industry, both working on Cape Summer Job. So we've always loved the restaurant industry, and it's something that we've been passionate about. So it was a good fit. We knew the operations. I was familiar with how it worked. Having had the opportunity to be a part of it from the early beginning. So it's walking distance. I get all my steps in.
Yeah, that's very cool having all those businesses close by.
Yeah, and it is, and it's also it speaks very highly to Main Street Hyannis, right? Main Street Hyannis, we like to call it Cape Cod's downtown, because it's a mile long if you're walking both ways, and from for a long time now, it's been recognized as it is a great main street for family and visitors and locals alike. And now we know that within every year we get a million visitors every year come to the downtown, right?
Wow.
To experience that. It's one of those downtowns that you can start your way in the East End with a cup of coffee or getting some, food, or you can finish it at the East End at the harbor, right? Yeah. So it's walkable, it's vibrant, it's diverse. So we're just happy to be a part of it, from having Candy Corner on one side and Polio Pizzeria on the other side, and the energy's there. So.
And now talk to me about Side Door Bagels. How did you just begin that? What inspired you?
Yeah, so side door bagels. My wife and I, we were really excited about it because first, it's a project that we've taken on. It's been our first couples venture, right?
Yeah.
In a way, I'm very fortunate to have been able to, purchase Candy Corner and also Palio Pizzeria. But this is something that we're starting from the ground up. So we always it kind of started out when my wife and I were pregnant with our twins, and she was craving, bagels. But we just felt, and then after, what added to it was a trip to New York City when at the time her best friends were living in the city,
Yeah.
and we needed to satisfy that craving. So we went, what better place to go than New York City, the capital of the New York style bagel,
That's
right?
so funny.
So that's where we went, and there we didn't even go on one of those bagel tours or go to the most popular spot with the line out the door. We went to this little bagel shop downtown where our friends swore that they had the best bagels, and guess what? They did. And there, I still remember we could see them from the side, kind of, the people probably thought I was a weirdo because I was trying to see into the kitchen to look. And then there's that side of me that whenever I go somewhere, I'm always looking at the operational aspect of it. So I'm trying to see how they're making the bagels, right, to really check out. So they're really boiling it, they're taking it out, seasoning it, and then putting it in their big rotating oven. So I told her, I was like, let's go back home and try to make some of our own bagels. So from there, that was, over 10 years ago. And we've always kind of, had fun making it at home. But we also felt like we wanted to bring that type of bagel to the Cape. What we call it, it's that we're not trying to be a New York bagel. We're not trying to, bring that exact bagel here. But ours is a New York inspired. And then on top of that, we're doing it as sourdough, which is, it's a 3-day fermented process. It's gut friendly. It's just going to be easier on your body. And that's what we're offering. It's a different type of bagel, but still it has that New York inspired feel to it. It's crunchy on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside.
Which I love,
honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been there, I think, every week.
Yeah, I did. I think my wife, from what she said, sales are down a couple of days that you skipped. So
Yeah.
So that's how Side Door Bagel got started, and it's brand new this year. We finally opened up the doors. We did pop-ups, and the support from the locals has been extremely amazing. And it's been fun. We're having fun doing it, and we're excited to again be able to offer something different to all the locals and visitors alike, that they can experience. That's that New York style, inspired.
Yeah. So that's good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so it's been really fun. We're having fun doing it. And again, the combination of having it on Main Street has worked out really nicely because for us, the listeners were probably, what we did is we kind of combined it with our pizzeria operation. So the reason it's called Side Door is because it's on the side. It's a side door of our Palio Pizzeria, Piazza de Palio, which is our courtyard. And so we do a shared kitchen space, and we just utilize, basically, I'm utilizing my downtime within the restaurant, right? So I figured out the other day that the restaurant is really closed from this time of year in the summer, from midnight to 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's our current downtime. So we've been having fun doing it. And again, the support from everyone has been amazing.
Yeah, it's a very close-knit community. So it's very nice to hear that the community is giving back and helping out,
Yeah.
As me being a son of a business owner, I know it's a lot of work. How is it like to run 3 businesses at a time? I understand, like, them being like close, it's like the location makes it easier, correct? But how do you manage your time and do this all together at once?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I'd have to say that first of all, I could not do it without the support of my leadership team, all my employees, and my family. right? Because
Yeah.
it's not, you have to, I mean, as since your parents own a business as well, especially on the Cape, it's very different. So you don't have that 9 to 5 flexibility of it, as other jobs come with it. So it's different. I sometimes I work late nights. Sometimes I'm working. I'm having one day off. But that comes with it. And what I like to think about, it's very quick months, and then come September, it quiets down a little bit, and it normalizes it. But yeah, no. So time management is definitely a key there. What I've learned in my, let's see, now my 15 years of owning my own business, is that I have gotten much better at delegating and accepting help, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's at first was challenging for me, because given my personality, I'm very hands-on, but I've learned that you do have to be able to delegate more, and lean into your support team, which is that your core folks. But once again, yeah, it can be challenging, but for me, I'm very fortunate to have the support of our staff and leadership team.
What do you think is the most challenging part of owning a business, specifically on Cape Cod?
Well, on the Cape is really the seasonality of it, right? I think last year we had, just in terms of visitor with the tourism industry, we had over 5 million visitors that came to the Cape, right? From that 5 million, that was $2.6 billion spent in tourism, directly spent on the Cape, right? So that's everywhere from restaurants to retail shops to massages to wedding planning. That's a lot. And the seasonality, it can be tough sometimes, but you have to find different ways to diversify what your business is doing. We're very fortunate at the Candy Corner, to have tapped into some of those. So now we do more online shopping and orders on the off season, right? We also have some programs that we do, corporate items. So we expanded into that. So now we're not just relying just on the seasonal income that's coming in with the visitors. We're trying to tap into that, into becoming more of a year-round business.
Yeah.
And also, I think that the biggest challenge that myself and a lot of the other business owners on the Cape have is also finding help, because it can be challenging on the off season, because you might, or still now, not even just the off season, come at the end of August, you have the college students going back. You have your J1 students. For some of the listeners that don't know what J1 students are, those are international students that are coming to the Cape to work for the summer under a special visa, but they're only here for 3 months, and then they head back to their home country. So you lose your college students, your J1. A lot of the high school kids go back to work, and we're still pretty busy.
Yeah.
Because on the Cape, it's not just the summer; it's also, the second summer. Which what we call our local summer in September. So how do you feel? You have some of the volume there, but you don't necessarily have all the staff for it.
Yeah,
So
that must
that's
be
a big
challenging.
challenge. And there's other challenges that that locally the Chambers has been working hard on it. And that also includes, housing. The median price housing right now on the Cape is close to
Crazy.
700,000, which is a lot. So how is that first time home buyer, going to be able to afford that home, and be able to stay on Cape?
Yep.
So there's some of those challenges face us. It's not just myself; it's a lot of other business owners. Employee housing, and then the third big item that a lot of people might not think that affect us, but also bridges. We have aging bridges, infrastructures that need to be replaced with limited funding available. I don't think that, we'll come out to a solution today, but that's something that within the chamber and a lot of the business owners that we're looking into and trying to come up with a solution for it.
Well, yeah, so it's nice to hear that Candy Corner is adapting to that seasonality problem. What advice would you give to other businesses on Cape Cod who are having like that problem with seasonality and not having enough clientele coming through in the winter?
Yeah, I mean, my advice would be, take a look and see what other niche can you tap into, right? So within something that you're still doing, what can you do? How can you still do that, but tap into something else, into another venture, or how can you help grow some of that business? And also look at the partners. Look at who's there to be able to help you. There's so many, I know we're talking about the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce being their podcast, but just the chamber alone, there's great resources there available to be able to help you on your next step, or they'll be able to connect you if they don't have the right resources there with somebody who does. At the end of the day, it's all, it's what I've learned along the way. It's about networking, and you have to get yourself out there, right, to be able to get that exposure.
Yeah, I know the chamber. I've been there for a very limited amount of time, but I know the chamber can help a lot. Connect you to some experts, and I've heard a lot of networking programs. Right, you go around to other businesses. You get to go around, talk to people, and they're very helpful. Source for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Use them, take advantage of your benefits and use it as a tool.
Yeah, exactly. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of business advice, what would it be?
Okay, so do you remember how I said that I wasn't that great? I was taking too much on. That would be it. You need to learn how to ask for help and be able to delegate. Because if you're not, you can't do everything. And as much as you want to, as somebody like myself with a personality that likes to be very hands-on, you can't. I was actually listening to another podcast and I heard something the other day. It's about a CEO vacation, right? So CEO vacation is you take 2 weeks off and you completely unplug from your phone and emails and then just let your business run, right? And then I'm not saying I'm going to do it in a 2-week vacation, by the way. But it's that mentality is that you want to kind of see how, in terms of the operational, what's the problem, where are the kinks. You already knew they were there, right? So how now when you come back, you're really, you can look into it and see, all right, so these are some of the challenges we're having by removing yourself from the operation, and then going and addressing those problems. So try to fix it, right? So that's something that I think a lot of times that in my younger self, I would kind of, go back and say, hey, you need to be able to delegate more because you can't do it all, right? And then you need to take a look from the outside in. And that's just something that, it took me a long time to get there, but I realized that. So,
you don't want to burn out, do too much work.
Well, yeah, there is a possibility of getting burnt out, but also you don't want to get stagnant in terms of just staying in that space, because or else you're always going to be the go-to improvement. It's almost like that wheel should always be continuously.
Yeah. What's one mistake you've made that taught you the most?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Other than mixing the mint chocolate chip with the chocolate ice cream.
That is that. You know what? One mistake I made, I should have, was going. It starts way back. I should have gone into. One mistake is that I really, instead of going just into finance, I would have gone into accounting, because that would have solved a lot of my headaches and being a pro in accounting. I think that's one of the mistakes that I made, even though I loved what I went into school for, but going into accounting. That
Okay.
yeah.
Now we know. Stay away from finance.
No, no, no. Go into accounting.
No, I'm
Cover
just
it all.
joking.
Focus on
Yeah.
hyper focus on the accounting part of it.
What advice would you give to someone looking to start a business here on Cape Cod?
That's a great question. So there's so many different organizations right now. I mean, not so many, but there's the core groups on the Cape, like E for All is a great example. They're a great group of folks that are there willing to help. Reach out to SCORE. You utilize the resources that are there in your community. Ask for help. I think that's really the number one advice. If you're looking to start a business, ask for help, get involved, look at some of those groups, because there's amazing folks out there that are willing to sit with you for a half an hour over a cup of coffee and tell you exactly what their mistakes were. And guess what? They're going to be flattered that you asked them to sit down with you. I don't think I've ever met anyone that doesn't, that if you ask them, hey, do you have 5 or 10 minutes to get a cup of coffee, to get some advice. I'm looking to start my own business. I don't think any of those folks are gonna say no. They'd be happy to share with you what they've learned along the way, and what direction they think you should be going towards, or what their recommendation is, and then you take it, you can take it from there.
Yeah. As a kid my age, going into my last year of high school, looking into colleges, and I know I have somewhat of a plan. I have an outline of what I want to do, but I know there's a lot of kids who don't know what they want to do. What is like one piece of advice for them? I'm not saying like tell them like how to find what they want to do, but I was like, what is one thing that you wish you did when you were 17 that you didn't do, or you see people my age not doing that you did that you thought helped you so much?
Yeah, you know what, Nick? And this is exactly what we're doing today. And I think that nowadays, I think that a lot of young professionals, they're just so stuck to their phones, right? So we lose a lot of that communication aspect of it. The best experience I've had was really from working in customer service, from the candy corner, waiting tables, and getting out there and having that 101 conversation with people, because this new generation is really just glued to their phones, and we're losing some of the ability to be able to talk and interact and have a conversation that will just flow. So that would be my number one advice. Don't get so much caught up on, you have to do this, that, and that. You'll figure it out. I mean, it's all going to work out at the end. Have a plan if you want where you want to go, but there's some of those social skills or the skills, especially the communication part of it, that it's extremely important. That alone you'll go a long way.
Yeah.
Whenever I do an interview question, right? I mean, you probably remember this. So whenever because we start hiring at the candy corner at the age of 14.
Yep.
So I ask them, some of these questions, or, tell me about yourself. Something so simple, right? Just tell me about yourself. What are you all about? And a lot of times kids have a hard time doing that. Or even if it's somebody who's 16 or 17, they might have a hard doing that. But that's kind of like that in business. You say it's your elevator speech, but you don't need just to have a business elevator speech. You should be able to sell yourself at any time.
Yeah.
What is Nick all about? What are you, like that type of stuff. Those conversations. So just that's the example of the communication aspect of it. And I do have to say that the last question I asked is, do you have any questions? And they always say no.
Yeah, I learned a lot from that.
So that was I finished with a always have a question for your interview. And what I like to say is, I've in the 15 years that I've had Candy Corner and working with young professionals from the age of 14 to 17 or much older, is that it's been fun to see them grow, right? I've had, so many kids come, and we've been able to that have worked for me for until from when they started at 14 until they went to college or when they graduated. And we still stay in touch, but it's also been fun to see how much they've grown as individuals, right? Mm-hmm. Because what I say is that this is just a step, no matter what you do, if you're scooping ice cream, or if you're serving pizza or serving a bagel, it's that, or a lot of these jobs in the customer service industry are really a stepping stone to something that you'll do down the road.
Yeah.
That's going to be great, greater and better.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be my advice. I think is any high school kid who's going into college is really spend a summer just getting better at working some of those skills, or a whole year.
Well, thank you very much. I think I just want to end this off with like some personal, like, fun questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
Out of everything you sell, from palios, side door bagels, candy corner, what is your favorite thing?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah, what is it?
Dark chocolate nonpareils.
Dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's good for you.
Okay.
I like to say that, it has tons of antioxidants. They're great. And depending on the day, I tell myself that they're sugar-free, calorie-free, and best of all, guilt-free.
Yeah.
But it's just that, it's a tiny little sweet that you can that for me, that's what does my craving, is a dark chocolate nonpareil.
It's good to know. Out of all the years you've worked at Candy Corner and had, like, owned these businesses, what is the funniest experience you've had? What is the funniest thing that ever happened that you remember to this day?
There's so many of them.
Yeah.
One of the things is that, I like to say is that if you're not, you have to have a good time in order to, when you're working too, that makes a day fly by. But there's been a lot. I mean, we've had so many spills to, mistakes that have been made. Sometimes you try to speed up and you make a mint chocolate chip ice. What was it? An Oreo?
A minty Oreo, yeah.
A minty Oreo, yeah. Which a mint chocolate chip Oreo sounds great.
Everybody loved it.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody loved it.
So that's just a pure example there of how many, things that come up that throughout the day that there's too many to keep track of.
Yeah.
But what matters the most is that we have fun doing it. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming here. It was an honor to talk to you. And I think we'll end it off here.
Awesome. Hey, Nicolas, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all the work and volunteering that you're doing for the Cape Cod Chamber. We truly appreciate it.
It's an honor.
Thank you.